Shalom, Kol Halal Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushua, B'Hashem HaKodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS, including the elders that came before them, that taught us this truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers that push in the word in truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect, tabernacle of David. The brother Yahshua back with the World War III daily update. We're going to go into the surrender order that was yesterday, 1 o'clock a.m., which is Sunday, I believe the 17th, and how it was unheeded and where we're going. We'll try to make it quick. All right, we'll watch and see. And these things are so fluid right now. They're fleeting. So by the time this video goes up, there'll probably be a change in what's going on. All right, so let's get this real quick. Revelation 11 and 14, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right, so this woe is referring to the world war. The second world war is past. Behold, the third world war cometh quickly. And meaning World War III hasn't been officially declared yet, but very soon it will, all right, with things like this going on, all right? So this is April 18th, this is today, all right? Shanghai, all right? Ukraine ignored Moscow's surrender or die demand on Mariupol as Russian missile attacks continue. So in Mariupol, there was a surrender or die order given to the holdouts, right, who are a bunch of mercenaries, and they're not going to surrender because if they surrender, they'll be tortured and made to give up information, or it'll just be worse than it would be to, to hold out and possibly, escape. Right? And that's the way mercenaries are trained. Okay, so they said, fuck that, we're not going to surrender. So now they're being pummeled by bunker busters, if you will, in the steel mill, wherever that is. So let's watch this. I'm going to have to stop it and narrate because they go to like the Russian language or whatever language they're speaking that I don't understand. So.
No, city still is not fallen. There is still our military forces, our soldiers, so they will fight till the end. And as for now, they still are in Mariupol.
Okay, Ukrainian PM's response came after a Russian ultimatum to the armed forces stationed in the steel plant at Mariupol. Is that steel plant? Yeah. Steel mill. The Ukrainian group surrendered and completely blocked surrounded Slovakia. The Ukrainian group surrounded and completely blocked in Mariupol. I guess this is the surrender demand.
Блокированная в Мариуполе на территории металлургического комбината Азовсталь.
On the territory of the Azovstal metallurgical plant,
группировки предложено
was asked to voluntarily lay down their arms and surrender in order to save their
добровольно сложить оружие и сдаться, чтобы спасти свои жизни. Однако
However, the Kiev nationalist regime, according to radio
националистический режим, по данным радиоперехвата,
forbade negotiations on surrender, ordering the Azov Nazis, that's so important, Nazis to shoot on the spot anyone.
Вести переговоры о сдаче в плен, приказав нацистам Азова на месте расстреливать любых желающих.
To lay down their arms among the Ukrainian military personnel and foreign mercenaries. So what they're saying there is, if any of you guys surrender, you'll be shot. This is Ukraine saying that. Forbade negotiations on surrender, ordering the Azov Nazis to shoot on the spot anyone that surrendered. So there's a lot of Ukrainians killing Ukrainians going on over there. Oh, you're a traitor? Oh, you're going to surrender? Okay.
Расстреливать любых желающих сложить оружие среди украинских военнослужащих и иностранных наемников.
That's deep. What did it say? Russia claimed it has controlled Mariupol, the strategic port city on the Azov Sea. Its offer, made out of purely humane principles, demand Ukrainian forces still fighting in the city until 6 a.m., which is 11 p.m. ET, to surrender.
Всего, по словам
According to Ukraine servicemen who
в плен украинских военнослужащих на территории
up to 400 foreign mercenaries are now encircled as part of the Ukrainian group on the territory of the Azovstal enterprise. So what this is saying is 400 foreign mercenaries are not Ukrainian fighters. These are, what they're saying is there's a bunch of British, there's a bunch of Americans fighting in the Ukraine. That's why they want them to come out and surrender, so they can show that we're not just fighting the Ukraine. We're fighting NATO. Okay? And that's why they can't come out and surrender. All right? And that's why if they try to surrender, their own people are going to shoot them. Okay? Here's what's going on. Read between the lines.
Предприятия «Азовсталь» в составе украинской группировки сейчас окружены до 400 иностранных наемников.
Most of them are citizens of the European countries as well as Canada. Right? These are foreign fighters in the theater of operations of the Ukrainian and Russian war. And I'm sure Russia has some, some Syrians and some other, letting you know, what does that mean? If the Ukrainians have Western European, American, Canadians, Brits, okay, fighting with them, and then Russia has Syrians, Iranians, and their allies, even Chinese, are waiting to get into this battle. It's called World War. It just hasn't been declared yet. Now, as these things escalate, which this is an escalation, because of this battle, if you will, this dramatic battle that's being pushed all over the world, NATO and the EU, right? The EU, European Union, have to do something, meaning an escalation. They're going to have to come in to Ukraine to fight against Russia and Russia's allies, all right, that are not being mentioned.
Большинство из них являются гражданами европейских стран, а также Канады. Ранее мы уже сообщали,
We have previously reported that radio communications between militants in
что
Mariupol
радиопереговоры между боевиками в Мариуполе ведутся на
are conducted in 6 foreign
6
languages.
иностранных языках. В случае
In case of further resistance, all of them will be
дальнейшего
destroyed.
оказания сопротивления, все они будут уничтожены.
Russian military has urged foreign mercenaries to stay clear of Ukraine. Now, can you see what is evolving here? It's called World War III. Russia's saying, stay the hell out of the theater, which is the Ukraine. And you got the Ukraine is saying, we need weapons, we need soldiers, come and fight with us. It's called World War III. I missed that. So lucky, I'm narrating it. Missed that part. Earlier in March, advising them to think 7 times completely before going. Give it a complete
В
thought.
результате
As a result of hostilities, the number of mercenaries is steadily declining and today stands at 4,877.
боевых действий численность наемников неуклонно снижается и на сегодняшний день составляет 4877 человек. В боевых действиях
In combat operations, Russian armed forces destroyed 1,035 foreign mercenaries.
российскими вооруженными силами уничтожено 1035 иностранных наемников. Еще
Another 912 mercenaries refused to participate in the fighting and fled.
912 наемников отказались участвовать в боевых действиях и сбежали из страны.
World War Z, baby. Capturing Mariupol would allow Russian forces to fully link up with troops in the Donbass region. If it fails, it would be the first major city to be taken by Russian forces since February. If it falls. If it falls, it would be the first major city to be taken by Russian forces since February 24th, which is the beginning. So this is significant, all right? This is a significant going on right now. And what we do know is that they're over there bombing, okay? Let's see. Is this more of the same? Let's watch this quickly. No, it's the same thing. Shane.
My friends, I'm crunched for time.
Yeah, you are. He knoweth that he hath but a short time. I wonder if this is before or after, so let's watch real quick. Has been fully cleared. The remnants of the resistance have been what? Blocked. Okay, so this is the same story. Inside the iron and steel work plants.
В ходе освобождения Мариуполя сдались уже 1464 украинских военнослужащих.
Okay, so this is basically the same thing. Moment by moment. Okay, what are we looking for? Now, this is military leaks. This is how long ago? Okay, this was yesterday, but early yesterday. I mean, late yesterday.
After the expired Russian ultimatum, two 22M3 bombers were seen flying towards Mariupol. After the time had elapsed for the surrender of the Ukrainian militants, nationalists and mercenaries from Mariupol, long-range two 22M3 bombers were unexpectedly seen in the sky. Judging by the direction of the flight, the latter were moving just in the direction of Mariupol, probably to smoke out the last few thousand encircled Ukrainian troops and other formations. On the presented video frames, you can see how at least one long-range supersonic Tu-22M3 bomber is moving in the direction of Mariupol. Considering that these aircraft often operate in pairs, there probably was a second combat aircraft, although the latter never made it to the video footage. Video footage was taken around noon, but there are no official statements about the use of long-range bombers at the moment. Earlier, Russia set aside 6 hours for the unconditional surrender of the Ukrainian militants, mercenaries and nationalists, promising to save the lives of those who lay down their arms and voluntarily leave their shelters in Mariupol. However, according to WW3 sources, the Ukrainian military refused such an offer. According to a number of data, about 2,000 to 3,000 foreign mercenaries and Ukrainian military personnel may still be on the territory of Mariupol.
Okay, that's pretty much the same story. Okay. All right, so is there any more? It says an Su-34 shot down in Kyiv. All right, we won't go into that. So we'll go ahead and close it. But what do we see happening? All right. Well, we see the prophecies jumping off of the page. This is Joel 3. Okay. Now, you have to understand the greater war. You have battles and then you have wars, right? Now, they're calling what is going on in Russia right now, they're calling it a war. Vladimir ain't calling it a war. Vladimir is getting his land straight. He's taking his land back. It's not a war. If it was a war, they'd have been bombing and strafing all the people and doing a lot more killing than they have been in the last, 2 months or whatever? Okay? That's his land, the Ukraine. All right? It was divided up, right? A lot like Korea. There's no North and South Korea. There's only Korea. Somebody drew a line down and said, this is North Korea, this is South Korea. There was a conflict called the Korean War. It wasn't called the North Korean War. It wasn't called the South Korean War. They drew a line and said, you people are now Democrats. This is a democracy. This part of Korea is a democracy. Okay? And guess what? Kim Jong-il wants his land back. So he's waiting for the precise moment to launch an attack on the rest of his land and get it back. That's what you see Vlad doing. He's like, look, this is the Soviet Union. This is my land. Okay? I'm not going to drop nukes here. All right? Now, same thing is going on in China. China's like this, look, Taiwan, that's our island over there. What are you talking about? That's our land. So Xi Jinping is waiting for the precise moment that NATO and the EU, right, obligate themselves, right, to a greater war in that area. And then they're going to go get their land back. All right? Now, in the Middle East, right, which is the Valley of Yehoshaphat, who wants their land back? Or what they believe is their land? Okay? What is God doing? Joel 3 and 2. It's the NLT. I will gather the armies of the world into the valley of Joseph. So here's where the major war of World War III is going to take place. Can you see all the armies gathering right now? You got the beast, right, which is NATO and the EU. You got the whore, which is America. You got all the allies of what they call the West, right? What is God doing? He's gathering the armies of the world. Okay? What is the most coveted piece of land on the face of the earth? It's called Israel. Okay? So all those Arabs, who is in Israel right now fighting over the land? Okay? You got people there calling themselves Israelis. And then you have people there calling themselves Palestinians, but they're not really Palestinians. They're really Arabs, the sons of Ishmael. The ones calling themselves that are calling themselves Israelis, they're not Israelites. They're Edomites. Okay? And so the Arabs, right, during what they call the Crusades, who was fighting? Well, it was the Arabs, right? The Muslims or whatever you want to go into, Islam. It's the Arabs. They were fighting over what? Over that land. It's the same fight. The land doesn't belong to either one of them, but that is the most coveted piece of real estate on the face of the earth. Why? Because that's God's favorite piece of land. And they're all fighting over it like somehow it belongs to them. So what is God doing? He's gathering the armies of the world into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Why? So he can judge them. There will I judge them for harming my people, right? The true Israelites, his special possession, for scattering his people, and what else? And for dividing up my land. So whoever's there is about to be judged for what you did to his people, for scattering them, and you got no business there. That land belongs to the Most High Yahweh, Bahashim Yahusha, and his people. And they're not there right now. Okay, what did you do? You scattered them. A lot of us are over here in North America. The Native Americans, okay, the Negroes, the Latinos. Okay? So what is God doing? He's gathering the armies of the world, as we can clearly see. Oh, well, these foreign mercenaries, all right? Now, all these Arabs, which the Iranians, they're not Arabs, okay? But they're part of that coalition, okay? The this is 15. So the dragons of Arabia, the Arabs, right? And the Carmanians with them. 15 here. I'm not mistaken. Start right here. 2nd Ezra 15 and 28. Behold, a horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia, the Arabs, shall come out with many chariots. This is the Most High gathering the armies of the world into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is the Middle East. And the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Persians, the Iranians. Who wants that land back? Who wants those people there? Let's say, for example, that everybody knew who the Palestinians really are. Okay? The ancient name for Palestinian or Palestine is Philistine. Okay? And the ancient Philistines are Hamites, African people. So the people there now calling themselves the Philistines or the Palestinians are not the Palestinians. They're Arabs. They're the dragons of Arabia. And before 1948, okay, there was a few of the so-called Israelis there. But then after 48, they came and started killing. So those Arabs, right, calling themselves Palestinians, they want their land back. And the greater Arabian area, okay, UAB, United Arab Emirates, UAE, Salakia, okay, there's a bunch of Arabs in that area which believe through the Crusades and the holy wars that were going on, going all the way back into antiquity, they believe that that land belongs to them. Okay? Going with the theme. Vlad just wants his land back. Okay? The land of Magog doesn't belong to those Edomites, but they stole it a long time ago, and now they believe it's theirs. Okay? And they want their land back. They want the USSR back, the Soviet Union. In China, they want their land back, Taiwan. In Korea, they want their land back, South Korea. In the greater Arab land over there, if you will, they want what they believe is their land back. Now, all of these disenfranchised so-called landowners are going to move as one to try to take their land back and fight whoever is going to stand in their way, which is called World War III. Okay? Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boar of the wood, and with great power, this is Iran, shall they come and join the battle with them. With who? With the Arabs. This is the Iranians with the Arabs, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. Okay? This is your World War III that we see happening right now. Right? This stuff right here. All right?
Downed Russian 34 was identified. Photos featuring the wreckage of the fighter jet were first released in early March. Recently, the hull number of the downed plane was established.
Now, what they're doing right here is they're trying to make you believe that the bombers that went over there to bomb Mariupol, one of them got shot down. But he just said that this goes back to March. We're in April.
Was identified. Photos featuring the wreckage of the fighter jet were first released in early March. Recently, the hull number of...
Okay? So, wars and rumors of war. All right, so that's good for today. Just a little, narration. So keep your eyes open for whatever that ultimatum was, that surrender ultimatum. That's going to have to, come to some sort of conclusion between now and whenever, which is going to dictate what happens next. All right, so with that, we hope that the elect were edified, you brothers and few sisters, and with that, we're going to say shalom.